This is my review on the SteelSeries Xai. This mouse is such a disappointment, just like all other SteelSeries mice. I actually do like the shape. It's just like a wheel mouse optical with side buttons. The first thing they messed up on is the weight. The wheel mouse optical weighs 79 grams, whereas this weighs 95 grams. Mouse button 1 and 2 require a bit more pressure than usual to press down, but that's not really too big of a deal. The mouse scroll occasionally doesn't register scrolls or registers them as delayed scrolls. This can be a bit of a problem. The sensor position is in the center. The LCD on the bottom you can configure a bunch of options with, even though I kind of find it pointless because if you are going to be traveling with it, I'm sure that you've probably set up the drivers on your computer at home and configured it the way you wanted it anyways. Here is a very simplified way to compare max tracking rates between mice. This is the Xai. I've spent the last 2 days testing tracking rate of the Xai and comparing it to the Wheel Mouse Optical, Microsoft Blue, Salmosa, Death Adder, and MX518. This is by far the most simplistic of the tests. What I found is the Xai is a bit random. Sometimes it'll track rates that are very phenomenal, and other times it won't track at all. Sometimes it seems like there's a negative acceleration, and when I flick really quickly, it'll go backwards. The mouse is very hard to predict, and because of that, muscle memory is almost impossible with it. I blame this on the laser sensor. Now you're seeing the Death Adder, and you'll see it's a bit more consistent. The counts never seem to change, no matter how fast you flick up till its malfunction speed, it'll always be consistently in the same area. So to recap, the SteelSeries Xai has some negative acceleration, but it also has a very random malfunction speed, and sometimes it seems to change CPI for no reason at all, even though I have both of them set to 400. Sometimes it seems like the mouse gets overloaded with processes, so as you're moving, it starts to get a little bit delayed behind you. So next we have the drivers. They actually did a very good job with the drivers. Pretty much anything you want to edit, you can do. The only thing we don't have in yet is macros, but let's look a little bit more closely. You can change from right to left-handed with the click of a button. You have the ability to make several profiles. You can change the CPI. Here you see me having it at 1800 for the comparison between the Death Adder and the Xai. But be warned, the higher you put the CPI on the Xai, the lower the max tracking rate is. The optimal max tracking rate is at 400. If you have it at 100, it still actually performs worse. You also have the ability to change your pulling rate, change exact aim and free move, turn off acceleration, and all the other stuff you have on your Windows options. Well, it's that time again, boys and girls. Time to check to see if you can actually take off prediction. Yeah, you can, but I had a problem actually enabling prediction on this mouse. Here, I'll show you what I mean. I've tested a lot of mice, and with the Death Adder I had no problem drawing straight lines, or the MX518, but with this one, even when I turned on prediction, I couldn't do it. So yeah, I'm sure I'll get a lot of messages after this saying, oh, you tested it on a Goliath, it's not meant to track on that. Well, to be honest, I've tested it on almost any pad. I've tested it on a Destructor pad, I've tested it on a Mantis Control, I tested it on a QCK Plus, I tested it on a Raindrop XL, I tested it on a Funk pad, and no matter what, the max tracking rate was nowhere near advertised. Also, it is a laser sensor, so occasionally when you're moving really quickly or moving around, it'll spaz out and make you aim towards the sky or towards the ground. And of course, the extremely annoying mouse wheel problem I had. So here's a list of specs, and I will also put it in the sidebar for you. By the way guys, about the mouse feet, I just realized I never said anything about them. They're actually really good on this mouse. In case I got a screwed up Xai, I'm going to RMA this mouse and see if I get different results, and if I do, I'll make a new mouse review.